there is an ongoing drama in Kenya's Laikipia Plateau that has been unfolding over the past 20 years and involves ants, lions, buffalo, zebras, and everything in between. And I think it might just be one of the most fascinating stories in all of Africa. And at its center is this guy. 2 decades ago, this particular stretch of the Laikipia Plateau was a typical African savanna. Wildebeest migrated through on their way to the nearby Laikipia Triangle. Packs of African wild dogs hunted here, and there were lots of zebras. But then something strange happened. A small number of big-headed ants arrived from South Africa where they are native. Today, their population has exploded, and they are everywhere, hundreds of millions of them in some places. They make up hundreds of thousands of hectares of ground and form the biggest super colony of ants in the world. And it's because of how fast they reproduce. One queen can found an entire new colony by itself and produce up to 6,000 eggs a day. And when those eggs hatch, they are all female workers except for one male who mates with the queen so she can continue laying more eggs. And while they don't kill each other, the males do die after mating. So it's actually pretty easy to know if a big-headed ant colony is young or old, just by looking at the size of the heads of the ants. In a new colony, the queen is the only large-headed ant. As the colony grows, the older worker ants become larger and larger until eventually they are replaced and a new generation of smaller worker ants takes their place. And the reason why these ants have been able to grow so rapidly is because of their invasive nature. Big-headed ants prey on anything that crosses their path. Insects, reptiles, amphibians, birds, mammals, even other ants. While they are not aggressive towards people, they will defend themselves if approached. I thought it would be interesting to see what happens when your hand enters an active anthill. And honestly, it's just not very pleasant. They bite and sting, but worse than that is their venom. I am definitely not a fan of being bitten by big-headed ants. But while this is terrible for us humans, it's great for the big-headed ants because the savanna has never offered them any natural enemies. There are no birds, mammals or insects that want to eat them. The only thing that will stop their advance is the acacia. This is an acacia tree and on it lives a different kind of ant, a native species called acacia ants. This acacia has modified thorns that act like hollow tubes full of sweet nectar, a food source for the acacia ants. In return for the free food, the acacia ants defend the tree against herbivores and competing plants. But there is a problem. The big-headed ant is bigger than the acacia ant and stronger too. It can easily overpower the acacia ant and kill it. And what's more, it doesn't seem to mind the taste of acacia ant. If a big-headed ant colony comes across an acacia tree, it will move in and kill off all the acacia ants. It will strip the leaves off the acacia thorns and devour them, drinking up the sweet nectar inside. Then it will take over the acacia tree and turn it into a big-headed ant tree. Now it's important to understand that the acacia tree isn't dead yet. It will keep growing, keep producing nectar. But now the big-headed ants will get all the benefits of the acacia tree, and the acacia ants will get none. So the question is, what happens to the acacia ants? Well, the answer is sadly, they go extinct locally. The last remaining acacia ants are forced to leave the tree and fend for themselves on the ground, where they are vulnerable to predators, and they simply cannot compete with the big-headed ants. So every acacia tree that the big-headed ants come across, they kill all the acacia ants living on it. And since the acacia tree relies on the acacia ants to protect it, all the acacia trees that the big-headed ants come across, they end up dying. And because the acacia trees are a crucial part of the ecosystem, the whole savanna is being transformed. At first, things don't really change that much. After all, acacia trees are widespread, and plenty of them survive the initial wave of big-headed ants. But gradually, over the course of several years, the density of acacia trees declines. By 2018, the whole landscape had changed. All the acacia trees were gone. What once looked like a classic African savanna with scattered acacia trees and open grasslands now looked like a desert. And as this process unfolded, it had a massive impact on the wildlife. Big-headed ants are generalist predators. They will happily eat whatever they come across, including the eggs of ground-nesting birds like the bustard. For these birds, the sudden appearance of a highly efficient predator wiped out their populations. Some species disappeared entirely from the area. Others did their best to adapt, changing their nesting habits or choosing more remote areas away from the advancing big-headed ants. The big-headed ant also ate many of the reptiles and amphibians. meaning that there was suddenly less competition for the small mammals. Now this is a good thing, right? Less competition means more resources for the mammals, so their populations increased. Small mammals like the black-rumped waxbill or the rock hyrax could thrive and grow in numbers, and among them were the zebra. You see, before the big-headed ants arrived, zebras had a natural enemy, the lion. Lions preferred hunting other prey, but if there weren't any around, they would settle for a zebra. But zebras travel in huge herds and they are fast, so lions rarely got lucky. But when the big-headed ants swept through the area and wiped out most of the birds, reptiles and amphibians, the lions found themselves with less prey and more competition. Small mammals were easier to hunt than zebras, and there were more of them. So the lions started going after the zebras. Zebra numbers declined, but that had further-reaching consequences. Whistling thorn, acacia trees, rely on the acacia ants to clear the ground beneath them of grass and bushes, to prune off any branches that grow too close to the ground, and to attack any seedling that dares sprout beneath them. Without the acacia ants, shrubs and grasses grow under the acacia trees, shading their roots and stealing their water. So the surviving acacia trees suffer and they die. Now you might think that this doesn't really matter, because acacia trees are so widespread that surely there are plenty of them left. But this is where things get complicated. See, a few kilometers south of the big-headed ants range, there is a group of male lions who rely on the whistling thorn acacia trees. You see, male lions need somewhere to hide during the day, and there aren't many places where they can do this safely. Rocks and caves are obvious choices, but they are limited in number. If there aren't enough rocks and caves, the males have to sleep in the open, which makes them vulnerable to surprise attacks from hyena. Hyenas have evolved to hunt lions, and they often steal their prey, harass them and try to kill them. But the whistling thorn acacia provides a perfect place for a lion to nap. The acacia ants chase away any potential predators, keeping the lion safe. So when the big-headed ants reach the Laikipia Triangle, it becomes dangerous for the male lions to be there. They have to move elsewhere. But where? Well, there are three options. The first is to head north, where there is plenty of open grassland and no big-headed ants. There are also lots of wildebeest in this area, so it's good hunting. But there is a downside. Wildebeest migrates seasonally, so sometimes there is plenty of prey and sometimes there is none. Option 2 is to head east and seek refuge in a national park. Inside the park, there is plenty of prey and no human settlements. But there are also plenty of tourists. Tourists are dangerous for lions because they can scare them off their prey and even kill them accidentally. But the worst option is to go south. Here, the terrain is mountainous and there are hardly any wildebeest. The lions here are forced to hunt zebras. And as we saw earlier, there are fewer zebras thanks to the big-headed ants. So where do the lions go? Unfortunately, the answer is they go to the nearest town. That's right. These lions ended up in a residential area, forced to find prey wherever they can, and this meant conflict with humans. They started killing livestock, and soon people wanted to kill the lions. So the lion population in the Laikipia Triangle shrank from 100 individuals to just 14, all thanks to the big-headed ants. So the story goes that Dr. Jane Goodall heard about this and got involved. Her organization helped build fences around rock outcrops to protect the lions and relocate some of them into protected areas. And hopefully this will give the lions a chance to survive. So there you have it, the incredible story of the big-headed ant. In just a couple of decades, this invasive species has spread across the savanna, killing off native species and driving lions out of their homes. But there is a happy ending. The acacia tree is protected by patent, and all the acacia ants in Kenya are being relocated to safer areas. Hopefully that will allow the acacia tree to recover and everything to return to normal. I spent a week with a research project in Kenya's Laikipia Plateau.